Previewing today's game though, Paul, there's a big buzz around the club. It's almost like the start of the season itself, isn't it?
Absolutely, first home game, chance for the home crowd to see the new signings especially and stuff, and I think the team will have a point to prove after Saturday. They didn't play as badly as probably the scoreline would have suggested, but they just didn't take the chances when they were on top, and so they paid the penalty, especially with the sending off of Callum. But your first home game of the season, look at the pitch, the sun's out, fantastic, can't wait to get going, bring it on. Last league game, of course, was Aston Villa at the end of last season. That seems a world away with everything that's happened over the summer. So much has happened, hasn't it? It seems 2 or 3 years ago, doesn't it? But of course, it was just 2 or 3 months ago, and we've had a change of manager, complete change of emphasis. It seems, we're in a different division now, but once the team runs out, it's still Wigan Athletic, and it's you can feel the excitement. The fans are sort of milling outside already, even though there's 4 hours to kick off, and we can't wait to get going. Yeah, Athletic's official Twitter feed, you can keep joining in, keep sending in your messages ahead of the big game today. We've had loads of reaction from fans looking forward to the first home game of the brand new season, and you've had a lot of reaction from fans during the summer. It's not been a quiet summer, it never is, even though there is a myth that football shuts down once May comes to a close. Fans forum at the DW Stadium sticks out most poignantly for you during the summer, doesn't it? Absolutely, it's fantastic. Obviously it was a chance for Owen to get to know the fans and the fans to get to know Owen, but great big thank you again to everyone at Wigan Athletic for putting on such a fabulous event. It raised several £1,000s for Joseph's goal, and it was so many people coming up to us saying, what a great event. It was great to you get a new manager and you're not quite sure, you maybe read things in the paper, his hopes for the season, but to actually have him there, standing there, and didn't duck a single question, no. As you know, neither did Jonathan, and just a fantastic way to start the season. And obviously it paved the way for the great win at Barnsley. We sort of slightly got derailed on Saturday, but hopefully a return to the Barnsley performance and really give the fans here something to cheer about. Yeah, a bit of a dodgy host on the night as well, it has to be said, but we've gone live today at 4 o'clock, and it shows what excitement there is in Owen Coyle in getting ready for today's game. He's been out on the pitch behind us, inspecting the pitch, looking at the work done by the groundsman. He's here bright and early to preview the game, to get ready, to get his team talk ready before the start of the game. He's had a great start to the season at Oakwell on August the 3rd. Let's have a look at what James McArthur had to say after that fantastic 4-0 win.
We were really looking forward to the match. Before it, we were buzzing to get going. All the players were ready, and you've seen today that we were ready.
So professional as well, because it's very easy if we drop down a league, head's not quite right, but from the off we were at the races.
No, I don't think it's been like that at the club at all. There's no hangover at all there. We're looking forward to the challenges ahead, and you can see that the way we scored goals today, and I think it's always important to get a clean sheet at the very start as well.
Yeah, James McArthur there just reflecting on that win. It does seem a long time ago of all the football that's been played since, but it was a fantastic afternoon, wasn't it? It was. I mean, as Owen Coyle would have kind of formulated his team plan and his vision for the day, I don't think he could have, really envisaged it going any better. Fantastic performance by, virtually the entire team. The guys who came off the bench all offered something, and the reality was Barnsley probably lucky to escape with 4 goal beating. It was a fantastic performance, and I think it will have sent shockwaves up and down the Championship. You don't really know how relegated teams are going to fare early doors. There's a kind of a mentality issue. Are they going to be up for the fight? But I think the answer from the Wigan camp elite was a resounding yes, we are up for the fight. It was a great way to start. Was there one man in particular that stood out for you, or one moment during the game that you remember back to specifically? I think Grant Holt was excellent. Fantastic signing. Obviously he was in the England reckoning just over a year ago, and it was a great statement of intent to get him here, and I thought him leading the line, the Yorkshire defence, in particular, renowned for their sort of physical approach, but you could see Grant Holt, he was absolutely loving it. The harder they kicked in, the more he wanted to play, and he had a hand in a couple of goals, and just to have him out there, I think was a great statement for the club, and looking forward to seeing him play not only tonight but for the rest of the season. Yeah, well, don't worry, you don't have to listen to just myself and Paul right through the show. We've also got the Chief Executive, Jonathan Jackson, ready to join us in the wings now, so I'll ask Jonathan to come on and join Paul and myself just round the table. And looking back to that game at Oakwell, Jonathan, it was a great afternoon. What was it like from where you were sitting?
It's always nervous starting the season. You don't know how you're going to fare, but of course the way the game went, after the first nervy 20 minutes, we started to impose our style and the way that we play football, and then as soon as we scored the first goal, which was a great goal from Ben Watson, we never looked back, and To be fair, it could have been a lot more than 4, but we were happy with 4-0. It was a great result, a great way to start the season, and hopefully we can have many more performances like that.
And as a lifelong Wigan Athletic fan, is that your first trip to Barnsley? It was the first trip there for a long time for yourself personally. Have you visited Oakwell before?
I went to Oakwell in 1978-79 in our first season in the 4th division, first season in the league. As I think I remember it would be being a 0-0 draw, so it was a better result this time.
That's one of the big excitements of this season as well. We've said before how disappointing it is to drop out of the Premier League, but the opportunity to go back to places like Oakwell and all the grounds we're going to visit this season, for many of us for the first time, there's excitement in that, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Some great grounds to visit this year. We're going to Yeovil for the first time. We're going to many grounds that we've been to in the various leagues that we played up and down the country. And speaking with fans, speaking with our supporters, it's great to hear so many of them talk about the way that they're looking forward to going to places like Huddersfield and Leeds and all the places that we visited in our rise to the top. And just to go to some different places and play some new teams, see some new players, and hopefully win a few more matches.
What about yourself, Paul? Any grounds in particular that you're looking forward to, maybe taking another holiday around as well?
No better example than Saturday, wasn't it? You know, first one up, Bournemouth away. It was absolutely fantastic in the holiday season. The weather wasn't quite up to it. Obviously, the result wasn't what we wanted. But you look at the likes of Brighton, Yeovil, some nice long weekend trips down there from a family point of view. And Jonathan said, just the opportunity to see some nice grounds, meet some new people, and embrace the Championship. I think that's the message. A
lot's happened since Barnsley, as we were mentioning before. You've touched on Bournemouth. We've of course had that third trip to Wembley this season. How have you seen the last couple of weeks for Wigan Athletic? It's
been bizarre, hasn't it? We've had kind of already, seems like we've had half a season. We had the euphoric kind of opening at Barnsley. Then we had Wembley, which was kind of a free hit, really enjoyable trip to the fans to kind of finish off the Wembley trilogy from last season. And then we had Bournemouth, the kind of really long haul. Few fans took the opportunity to go down for the week and for the weekend, and disappointing result there. But it seems like an eternity, like we said, since we played here. But I'm sure, Jonathan, you'll be aware of the fact the boys just want to get out there, don't they? And show the fans what they're all about all season. It must be difficult being on the road for basically the first month of the season when everyone's getting home games under their belt. So I think they'll be well up for it today.
Yeah, it's just that point on the fans as well, Jonathan. They're looking forward to getting back here. It's around 93 days since our last home league game. It's been a long time since Aston Villa. Over 1,000 miles travelled by the supporters in recent weeks. It's been some effort from them on the road.
Oh, it's been magnificent, it really has. Apart from Dundee United, of course, which was the friendly here. That's the only game we played here since Aston Villa. We've been halfway around the world playing games in America. We played a game at Lee Sports Village as well. But of course, recently we've been to Bournemouth, which was a long way for our fans. It was great to see so many of them there, over 700 there. And of course, the result wasn't as we wanted it to be. It was certainly a different performance to Barnsley. We were all disappointed with the performance and just the way the day turned out. Really, everything seemed to go against us. We didn't get the rub of the green as far as the referee is concerned. We lost Callum McManaman to a red card, and of course we came away empty-handed. But our fans were great all the way through, singing, and we could hear them from the other side of the pitch. It was a great support. And it was a great atmosphere actually at Bournemouth. So certainly we know it's not been easy for our fans. We had the trip to Wembley beforehand. And it's been an expensive time to be a Latics fan, but I can assure them that their support is very, very much appreciated.
Well, we're going to look into that Bournemouth game in a little bit more detail shortly. Before we do, let's see what Emerson Boyce had to say after that 1-0 defeat at Dean Court.
Yeah, definitely. For us, it's a wake-up call. We know we've got to come to places like this and play to our best. Today we never got going, and fair play to Bournemouth. They had a chance and they took it. And that's what we've got to learn now, that we can't give teams opportunities to score past us, and they're going to make it hard. So it's a lesson learnt. It's a painful one, but now we go into the rest of the games now and knowing what to.
Paul, a lesson learnt and a wake-up call. That's how Emerson Boyce described the day. Would you concur with the skipper?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we said, after the Barnsley game, you're probably thinking, a few fans may possibly be thinking, this is the way the Championship is. We're going to turn up at these places and just, turn up, roll up and take the points, and it's not going to be like that, especially if you don't get the crucial early goal. I mean, you could see from the Bournemouth fans, you know, they were at it right from the first whistle, weren't they? They were giving it everything behind the team, such a partisan. It was cup tie atmosphere, wasn't it? And you know, once they got their noses in front, the crowd then seemed to think, you know, we've got an upset here. You know,
they've got a good home record as well.
Yeah, they have. I mean, you know, they're no easy mugs. Bournemouth. They're going to be a decent team. As Owen said after the game, you know, with refereeing like that, they're going to have a decent home record. But you know, it's one of those. You know, if you don't put your chances away, if you don't, you know, make your mark on the game, you leave yourself open. And obviously, after Callum got sent off, it's always difficult coming back against a good team with 10 men. But as Boyce said, you know, it's a wake-up call. Perhaps good to get that out the way early doors. 3 home games now, no better time to put it right.
Yeah, I suppose, Jonathan, we saw it in over the course of the 90 minutes what Championship football can be all about. It can be frustrating. It doesn't take any prisoners at times, and at the end of the day, it can be very disappointing if you don't quite find that mix on the day.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. We just didn't perform really. We didn't have many chances, so to speak. We had a header cleared off the line late on. Sean Maloney had a great chance with a free kick in injury time, which we were hoping would somehow secure a point for us. But
we all fall back to Queen's Park Rangers as well, didn't we?
That's what I was thinking of as well. Thinking Loftus Road, top corner, but it didn't happen. But apart from those chances, we didn't really create a great deal, and that was the disappointment. I think we didn't get our foot on the ball in midfield. We weren't able to play the way that we normally do. I think sometimes we went too quickly forward, and I think the defence outnumbered Grant Holt up front, and so it just didn't happen for us. But we've put that to bed now. We've learned our lesson from that, and hopefully tonight we'll see a different performance and hopefully a few goals.
Yeah, you both touched on it, on Callum McManaman's red cards. He's set to miss the next 3 league games starting this afternoon against Doncaster Rovers. He's been coming off the bench. He's still recovering from an injury as well. I guess the next few weeks will allow him a little bit more recovery time, but disappointing none the least to lose a player of that quality in what are important home fixtures.
Yeah, Callum's been a revelation since really the Huddersfield FA Cup tie, where he came on and really dominated the match, got man of the match on the TV game, and clearly then rose to prominence with a goal at Everton and then a goal in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and he was a first team player from that moment on, and we certainly had high hopes for him this season, and we still have. He's obviously been on the bench the first 2 games and in the Community Shield, but it's a real blow to lose him for 3 games, but I think that will allow him to reflect on what happened at Bournemouth. It was a rash challenge, and I think on reflection, looking at it, it was reckless. He won the ball, but in the modern game you can't tackle like that, and he'll know that, he'll have watched that, and hopefully he'll have learned a lesson from that he's better on the pitch for us rather than in the changing rooms.
Yeah, the referee, Paul, his hand was straight in his pocket, wasn't it? What was your view of the incident? How did you see it looking back?
Well, it was kind of happened just in front of us, in front of the press box, didn't it? And kind of, I thought it was a bit of a tasty challenge from Pittman on Callum, you know, just come on. But like Jonathan said, I mean, there's a right way and a wrong way to react, and you know, he's gone in. He's clearly got the ball with his first leg, but you know, the challenge is reckless. He's off the ground with his second, and you know, looking back on it, you know, it was the correct decision. And
Shadow's 2 minutes early was a fantastic penalty save, and all of a sudden Callum and James come off the bench. We're sat in the press box thinking, that's it, this is it, we'll turn the game around now. Exactly,
there was such a feeling of optimism when McLean and McManaman came on. We thought, we've got this, even though we're losing. The momentum, the Carson penalty save, and within 2-3 minutes it had all gone. But as Jonathan said, he'll learn from it. He's still a young lad, and you don't want to get that edge to his game, because that's what makes him such an exciting player. But there's just, you know, sometimes you just got to be a bit smarter, and in that area of the field, you know, it's perhaps not the right challenge to make, but he'll learn from it. He's got 3 games to think about it, and I'm sure he'll come back stronger.
They'll all be looking to bounce back today, Jonathan. You went out to the States with them during the summer. You've seen this team grow closer together, bond together over what has been a short space of time for so many changes to have taken place. There's the right characters in that dressing room to bounce back out there this evening, isn't there?
Absolutely, and in a way, you know, you look at the result, and it was a blow, but you hope that when we look back later in the season, that it will have been a wake-up call for our players, that actually you can't take anything for granted in this league. We need to be at the top of our game in every single game that we play, and on Saturday we weren't. It was simple as that, and you don't get anything if you don't, absolutely be on top of your game. So it was a disappointing result, but as you said, the characters in the side, and we've got so many captains out there who, with experience of this league, with experience of getting promoted from this league, they'll know what's required, and I'm sure that they'll make sure that the dressing room is absolutely totally ready today to face Doncaster Rovers.
Well, we're just going to shift the focus onto tonight's game, Doncaster Rovers, and see what the managers had to say before that. Before we do look at Owen Coyle's words or hear what he has to say, I'll just put a question to you that I put to him earlier in the week. Given our aspirations this season and what we want to achieve, and it's only the third league game of the season, is there pressure on these guys tonight?
There's always pressure, when you're up there as one of the pre-season favourites for promotion. You're coming off the back of a defeat. I don't think many fans would have expected us to have lost so early in the season. Of course there's pressure. There's no greater pressure than from Owen himself. He'll be expecting to win tonight. We've got 3 home games now, and you're probably looking at, this could make or break the season. Three wins puts us right up there. If we struggle tonight and maybe don't hit our straps, then there's so much pressure on the Middlesbrough game. It's a massive game tonight, a really big game. You can't underestimate that.
Well, speaking in the week till Attic's play, here's how Owen Coyle said his team will be dealing with the pressure of this evening's game.
Well, I think because of the nature and the stats of Wigan Athletic, there's probably, in terms of a football pressure, to win every game. Now we all understand that's not going to happen in the Championship. You're not going to win every game, but that's the intention we get with every game to try and win those 3 points, and that'll be the same coming into this period of home games. I think what we've got to do is just take them in isolation. It really is one game at a time. That starts with Doncaster. All our focus is on that, trying to make sure we're our best enough to go and win the match, and that's what we'll look to do.
There's plenty of passion in the opposition dugout on Tuesday night as well, in the form of Paul Dickoff. Yeah,
Paul, and somebody I know very well, and obviously when he left Oldham, he's come into the job at Doncaster, and he'll be delighted with that. So as I said before, they get a valuable 3 points. They've had 2 home games as opposed to us having 2 away games, but they get valuable 3 points on Friday night against Blackburn. So they'll certainly be coming full of confidence with their tails up and everything else. We've got to make sure, as I said before, that we get to our maximum. If we do that, then we're convinced that we can.
Owen Coyle there, speaking to Latics player early in the week, previewing today's game. One thing he also said, Paul, was that he might look to freshen things up in terms of selection and how he moves the team around. Do you expect changes in that starting lineup this evening?
Yeah, I do, and it's important to do that as well. I mean, the Championship's not going to be won by 11 players, it's going to be won by a big squad, and I think there were sort of 1 or 2 players who weren't at the best on Saturday for whatever reason. There's obviously an international programme the previous midweek, maybe the likes of, maybe Sean Maloney might benefit from just a, spell on the, not a spell on the bench, but maybe just put on the bench tonight just to give him a slight rest, because obviously he was fantastic for Scotland against England last week. You've got, the likes of Bosajor, who was away with Chile. Those are the obvious kind of 2 who I feel, may benefit, and of course that might allow James McLean to come in, and we all want to see the new signings, don't we? And what a breath of fresh air he'd be down that left-hand side.
It's a credit to the gaffer, Jonathan, that he's got to this stage. He's had an international break to deal with. He's got the suspension of Callum McManaman, but having had a skeleton squad inherited in the summer, he's worked so hard to now have options that he can bring in, options which bring quality, like Paul said, like James McLean.
Yeah, we've signed 10 players in just over 8 weeks, which has been a busy time, really busy time, probably the busiest time that I've had at the club, and one of the busiest summers as a club we've had. Which started with losing our manager, and of course we lost Aruna Kone as well. A number of players went back to the parent clubs after loan periods here. Paul Scherner, Anto Enriquez, and Joe Robles. So we were left with the bare bones really, and we set to work and brought in 10 players, not just bodies, but 10 players who can all make a difference, who can all go straight into the first team. And as I've said before, with experience of this league and also the Premier League as well. So it's important that we've got a squad this year that's capable of competing not only in the Championship, but finishing in the top 2 in the Championship and also in Europe as well, because from the 19th of September we're in our first ever European campaign, and I'm sure that Owen will want to look at different players in different matches, and when we start playing in Europe they'll certainly use the full squad that he has.
He intends to make the most of these final couple of weeks as well. He's not stopped. He said 10 players coming in. He wants to add to that. He wants more players in this team. He's not used the low market yet, which we've spoken about all through the summer. which we know he's got experience in, but he wants to keep adding to this team, doesn't he?
Yeah, ideally we would like to keep adding to the team, but there's only a finite amount of money available. But seriously,
that's where he makes you sweat a little bit, isn't it?
No, but look, we've said to Owen that we will absolutely back him 100% in whoever he wants to bring here, if we can afford to do so and if the finances allow. We sold Aruna Kone for £5 million and we've reinvested that with the 10 players that we've brought in. We will look to use the loan market, and we've got a couple of loan players already lined up which we're working on at the moment, and we're hoping to bring those in from Premier League clubs, players which I'm sure will excite the fans. And we're still looking to bring in quality signings, and we have to be prepared if we do lose any players in the next 10 days that we're ready to replace them, and that's what we've been working on the last 2 or 3 weeks. We were looking at a player on the continent who looks a really good prospect, a good player. Unfortunately, he had a fantastic game over the weekend, and so that kind of puts the spanner in the works.
That's nice and cryptic, isn't it? Yeah, fans trolling over results on the continent.
So things like that obviously can affect things, but we're working very hard to make sure that we've got the best squad available to achieve our objectives this year.
When you look around the team, Paul, you get lots of messages from fans as well, especially during this time of the season, the transfer window. What areas of the squad do you feel still needs strengthening? It's your chance to pitch it to Jonathan as well, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, it looks a decent squad. I mean, when you consider where we've come from, when Owen took charge and you looked at the squad, and there was we expected Kone to go, so you had effectively no centre forwards. Boyce was the only first team senior defender. It looked a massive job, but 10 new players, and all of a sudden the squad's got a really solid look. I mean, if you're asking me to be pedantic and pick one, I would perhaps say, maybe, I'm sure Jonathan's aware, maybe a striker. You've got Grant Holton, Marc-Antoine Fortuny, sort of, very good quality of striker, but maybe they'd be complemented by a striker with a bit of pace. Maybe this guy you were looking at the weekend might be coming in, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I suppose the important thing is the best signing we could make was trying to keep the players we've got, because you look at the squad and I can't see a stronger squad in the Championship if we can keep everyone together. So if we could just get to the window with keeping that squad, maybe bringing one more striker, and I'd be very, very confident moving forward.
That's always been the big point for us, hasn't it? From every window, summer, January, keep who we've got, and if we can add, great. But do you feel sometimes you need to shift that, and it's a case of, well, let's more concentrate on what we can add rather than putting all our efforts into keeping players?
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's good to freshen up, and sometimes you have to lose one player to maybe bring in 2 or 3, like was the case with Charles Nzogbia. Massive loss to the team, but you replace him with the players, and you eventually hopefully progress as a football club. So I don't think it'd be disastrous if we lost a player this window, but it's as long as the plan, the structure's in place to continually strengthen every window. That's football. That's evolution, isn't it?
Where do you stand on the whole date and timings of the transfer window? Because we've spoken in the past, and it goes back to that keeping hold of players, that you'd want the window done, dusted, business settled by the time the new season starts. But given all the business that we've done this month during games, it's worked to our benefit this time round. In the past, maybe it hasn't. Where do you stand on it all?
Well, I mean, we got some good business done very early. It was great to see. It kind of you almost came into work every day with another new transfer to meet. So, it's great to do the business early. But I mean, Roberto Martinez was a kind of a long-term critic of having the window open into the season. He felt that you had to close it before the season, and I suppose from a speculation point of view, it can't help the players. Without naming names, there's probably a lot of players up and down the country who don't know whether they're going to be at the club that they're at in a couple of weeks' time. But from purely a selfish point of view, it's great to have the transfer window open. It gives us plenty of stories to go at and rumours to peddle. But I think probably they've got to bring it in where you shut the window before this, because it's not fair, like I say, on players who are coming. A player puts in a bad performance and people are accusing him of not giving it all because he's going to be moving on. It's not fair on players, to be honest.
Just a final thought from you, Jonathan, because at the start of the show we were talking about new season back at the DW Stadium and the fans coming back here. How excited are you ahead of tonight's game and the reaction you've had from fans? Because when you look at tickets still on sale this evening, £15 for adults, £10 concessions, juniors a £5, and once again under 5s coming in completely free of charge. Summer holiday, so you can let them stay up late tonight to come and see Latics. They won't be too Hopefully they've been for a good game, let's put it that way. How excited are you ahead of tonight's game?
Yeah, it's great to be back at the DW, and already I'm starting to get those butterflies that you get when you come here and you see the pitch already prepared. The players will be arriving shortly, and it feels like the opening day of the season, and it's just a great feeling. And look, we're all looking forward to a successful season. And we want as many fans down here as possible. Our season ticket sales have been really good this year. We're at the same level that we were at last season in the Premier League, and that's testament to the loyalty of our fans, who, you know, after the 8 seasons that we've had, they've remained loyal. The fan base has grown, and hopefully we can continue to see that grow. And we've got over 1,000 Doncaster fans here tonight, so we expect the crowd to be in the region of somewhere between 13 and 14,000, which for our first game in the Championship we're very happy with.
Do you both watch Top Gear? You watch Top Gear, surely?
Not a fan.
Well, yes, you do. And you watch Top Gear, of course.
No, I never watched it.
Well, those at home, yeah, that went swimmingly, didn't it? Those at home obviously do watch Top Gear, and you'll know all about Star in a reasonably bright car. We haven't quite got a car here this afternoon. We've barely got 2 stars as well, in all honesty. What we have got, however, is the Matchday Ball. Not quite the Matchday Ball for tonight. And 2 subjects, if you like, and a little bit of a change to this season's programme. What we're going to do at the end of each show with our guests, we're going to have a bit of a keep you up challenge, see how our 2 guests fare. They can talk the talk, we'll see if they can walk the walk as well. And we're going to see how many keep you ups you can do before you fluff it up. So there's no time involved. What I will do is toss a coin to see who goes first. Paul, you're the...
Do we get to practice?
You get a little practice go. I'll give you a practice go before you start to help you warm up. Paul, heads or tails first of all?
I'll take a head.
Okay. It is head indeed.
I'll put Jonathan into bat.
That's very sly of you. So there's the ball, Jonathan. I'll just lead you over to I'll have to take you around the front of the desk. Otherwise, I'll trip over the mic lead. And you give yourself enough space. Give yourself a bit of a warm up, and when you're ready, let us know.
Can we use anything then?
As long as it's part of your body, yes, you can use everything.
So one practice and then...
One practice go, and then we'll see how many keep-ups you can do.
Okay. Oh, that went
There's
well.
your practice go, so you've got a nice feel for the ball now.
Yeah.
Remind us you used to play for Chorley, was it?
Yeah, it's a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
So a nice practice in.
The balls were a bit
this
heavier
is it.
then.
Oh, look at this.
Dear me. Now I counted 12 on that go. I didn't count the ball juggling on the headers more than once, so that was some way to kick us off. No pressure, Paul. The bar's been set high. 12 from the chief exec. What can the football correspondent do? Let's have a little warm up first, see how you go. 3, so you're already way ahead of Jonathan, to be fair.
We'll see how he goes. Right.
Proper go. I'm going to give you 5 for that one. 5. It kind of ricocheted off your shin at the end and then went off behind the recording equipment. So 5's nothing to be too embarrassed about, but 12 certainly is the score to beat. Hope you enjoyed that. It was classic live TV, I'm sure you'll agree. Thanks for joining us on Matchday Live once again. Enjoy the game today. Tickets on sale at the DW Stadium right up until kick-off. Join us through the game on Latix Player. Myself and Neil Rim will be giving you full live match commentary. You can join in on Twitter at Latix Official to send us your thoughts, and our club journalist Nick Taylor will be doing Cover It Live, so you can send in your thoughts via that as well during the game. Enjoy the match tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Matchday Live.